Hello everyone, this is Akira. This is Megumi. We're broadcasting in from the Yamato headquarters. So thank you very much for attending today. And we're talking about extra high hydration noodles today. So it's but it's different from like what we're gonna be doing, how we're gonna be doing it, from like in an udon noodle machine, like we're doing it on ramen noodle machine, like which is basically designed to do low and medium hydration ratio noodles. So like you can learn how you can do it using ramen noodle machine, but like using a little bit different, like little bit like little part of like noodle machine or like high hydration noodle machine to do this kind of noodles. So please stay tuned. So like we're gonna do this brief lecture on like what like what extra high hydration noodle is, and what Megami is gonna make that kind of noodles on our Richmond machine, and then later we're gonna cook some udon noodles, and then show you guys like some like really simple dish that you can do at home, udon dish. So in the kitchen. So like let's get started. Uh, I just had this kind of chart scribbled on this like whiteboard, and yeah, it's like this is a chart like we've been using like a lot of times like to describe different types of noodles. Um, Basically, the x-axis, right? X-axis hydration. So basically, how much water, liquid is added to the solid ingredients, right? Like flour and everything. Like, from the left, low, right? Low, like low being like 25%. 25% means like to the weight of the flour, right? To the weight of flour. So like for example, like you're doing like 1 kilograms of flour, right? You're adding 250 grams of water or liquid, right? And then so towards the right gets higher and higher, like more water, right? And y-axis, vertical axis, that's the protein content of flour that we use to make these noodles. So uh, the higher, the harder, right? Higher, the harder is like so towards like towards up gets higher, and it goes down like lower, it's like softer. And and then basically the thinner the noodle size, the smaller noodle size, right? And then it gets softer because like, it's thinner, and then when you bite into it, like when you bite into noodles, you don't feel much bite, like when it get as it gets smaller. So, but like as it gets bigger, like thicker, then you have more resistance. Like when you when biting noodles, so basically it gets harder, right? So it's a between like it's a balance between like hard like being soft and like chewy and a bouncy. So it's just just kind of taking a spot in like in balance like in between like in this chart, right? And then so but extra high hydration noodles, right? Like that's we consider so 25% hydration of like 25% between 25% and 30%. We consider this range of hydration as low hydration. And such noodles like tonkatsu ramen noodles kind of belong to this range for hydration. And medium hydration, like between like 30%, 31% to maybe like 38% or so. There are a lot of different types of noodles like belonging to this range of hydration. Tokyo shoyu ramen and stuff like so. This the miso ramen, Sapporo miso ramen, different types of ramen noodles, and high hydration ratio noodles. So it gets softer and softer in terms of noodle texture, and 38% and 40%, and maybe like up to like 44, 45%. So this is like we consider like high hydration noodles. Like gets as the hydration gets higher and higher, like the noodle texture gets softer. And but today we are talking about beyond 45%, like kind of threshold, and that's what we call like extra high hydration uh, noodles, right? And so there are many. different types of noodles, and then like the famous, well, the popular one would be like udon noodles, right? Udon noodles, and there are many types of different ramen noodles as well. Like the kind of ramen noodles that we are talking about, like uh, the ramen noodles like that are made by hand. Um, there's such regional ramen noodles like as like a Sano ramen and other types like well yeah, it's well, like all these like ramen noodles that are like kind of well east of Japan, like well, northern east of Japan, and they are like kind of thicker and but like very chewy and softer, but like chewier. It has like this really like bouncy texture to it, so it's really like 40 beyond 45%, and it's like what we're talking about today. So um, let's already like start, making some noodles. And so let's see like what we have for ingredients over here, right? And so what we are going to show you guys today, right, is in terms of like extra high hydration noodles is this like udon noodles, right? Udon noodles, like so, but like we are making it in on like ramen machine. So basically, this is a flour, udon flour. Udon flour is different from ramen flour. Like like it has like less protein content, or like has like higher viscosity content. It's more elastic and lower ash content. It's like ash content is like less ash content, like the less dark the color will be. And see this it's like salt, right? And then like look at this amount of salt like we're adding to this dough, right? To make dough, and this is vinegar and water, right? So we're going to first make dough, and so we are making the dough like in this machine, which means one machine, and this mixer is like 10 kilogram mixer, and the minimum batch is like 4 kilograms. So we are doing 4 kilograms, the minimum batch, and over here we have, so we are making liquid, right? Like liquid, because we have to like dissolve a lot of salt, right? A lot of salt. So we need to like kind of well melt the salt, like just a certain amount of salt, right, in the water in the bowl, and then add it back to the water, and then like add some more water, and then like dissolve the salt again. Just kind of repeat this step like until we have like all the salt like dissolved, right? So it's you just have to make sure that like all the salts like being dissolved, right? So that we are sort of like maintaining the sodium level, like salty level of this liquid. And we also added the vinegar. So we're just adding this liquid to the flour, the mixer, right? And then look at the mixer, like so it has the lid, right? And then like the lid, like there are holes, right? There are holes, like small holes that allow this liquid to be drip through the, to the flour little by little to kind of render kind of good hydration of the dough. So that's what this mixer is pretty good at doing, like good like facilitating good hydration of the dough. And we can't just just keep watching this mixer for another 5 minutes. So Migumi made the dough in advance, right, for you guys to see how the process goes. And so this is the udon dough, right? Udon dough, and what we are doing is that like we have, well, kind of making it firm. Because this dough is like still like sort of like crumbles, like kind of chunks of dough, right? But we need to like kind of make it firm by pressing it. And so to do that, like we use this kind of well device, like kind of machine that like it's a press machine, and that sort of like mimics the that's what it means like like human beings like kind of stepping on the dough with the feet. 'Cause that's how we so like well like how actually some of like udon shops actually do make the dough. So they step on the dough with their feet, right? To sort of like apply like equal amount of pressure on the like entire area of the dough. And this machine, like press machine, allows us to do that. And and we have to say that it's like this is a lot of work actually. It's like even though you just like stepping on the dough with the feet, it takes a lot of energy actually, a lot of energy and time. I bet like if you do this like size of dough, foot stepping, I bet like it take you like 30 minutes or so, and it consumes you like a lot of energy doing that. But like using this machine, just like uh, for like just few minutes, taking a few minutes, and then just 3 to 5 times of just pressing, right? So it's yeah, it's easy on your body, and it's pretty good. Yeah, and so notice how she's folding the dough, right? She's folding like the dough like inwards, and then kind of in the different directions at each round of pressing, so that like dough, like entire area of dough gets pressed, right, pressured. So it's kind of getting worked up, like their gluten structure inside dough is getting developed in that way. So this is the third time of pressing. Okay, and see how it's coming up, and so folding it again and flipping it over and do it. For the last round, or so yeah, this is a udon machine, called it Shimuchi, and then it's like all in one machine. But like this machine is like designed to do udon noodles. It's got like mixer, like press machine, and like roller unit, and then like cutter unit. It's got everything, right? Like for you to be able, like make well noodles from scratch. But we're just using this part of the machine to walk the dough, and we actually yeah, we can actually provide this part of machine like press unit only out of this machine. So yeah, so like our customers like using our like Richmond machine, like the Ramen machines, can just get that press unit to be able like actually make this kind of noodle. And so she divided up right into four pieces, and um, she's going to put it in the aging cabinet, and well rest it overnight. Yeah, so that's resting overnight. So like she had it rested like for 2 hours, like 28 degrees Celsius. The dough she just pressed, right? And then now she's putting this dough back into the aging cabinet again to rest it for overnight, for like at temperature of like 18 degrees Celsius, kind of cooler temperature. And yeah, of course, like we can't just wait here, like just stand here, like just wait for the aging to be done, like for 16 hours or something like that. So like she prepared this dough in advance yesterday. So we are going to sheet this dough on the ramen machine, but before that, right? Because it's too thick, right? To go into the rollers in the ramen machine. So we want to like flatten it, right? Flatten the dough to be thin enough to be able to like go into the roller. And just again using this like press unit machine to flatten these dough. Okay, let's see how. All right, so we got two doughs, um, flat, and think they're think they're thin enough to. And it's got to be like thin enough and narrow enough to be like going to the roller. So that's another, so just a bit of challenge. Just stay with us. Yeah, so like a lot of times like we do high hydration noodles in this Richmond machine, like ramen machine, right? And then but like it's probably like up to like 40%, right? Like if you go beyond 40%, it gets harder to do it on this machine. And yeah, it's like, and then this udon dough, right? Udon dough, like hydration is actually 50%, like 51, 52%. Like, so it's very high in hydration ratio. And um, for noodles, right? For noodles, like 50%, 51%, like it's very, very high. So it's really hard to do, like, because like this machine is designed to do rather like low hydration ratio noodles, because like ramen noodles like kind of low in hydration like in general. So it's kind of hard for this kind of machine to do this kind of noodles. Okay. So this is udon, and right, so let's go into the next thinning. And it's very important to dust it, right? Dust it because like it's really wet, sticky, right? So like we really have to like dust a lot on the dough, to prevent it from sticking. It's yeah, so it's like it's very important to, yeah, be dust like really well. And yeah, so as you can see, like, we're dusting like kind of automatically in this auto duster, right? And then with this device, right, you can actually control the amount of dusting we can do, right? And this is extremely high in hydration, the stove, right? It's like we have to dust a lot to keep it from sticking. And notice that like she's sort of like cheating it like well a couple times like repeatedly and it like well what she's doing is that like she's well narrowing the roller gap like every time like she cheats it, right? And so basically like we gradually thin the dough um, to sort of like retain the gluten structure of the dough. Like if you thin it like drastically and like you just you're just damaging the gluten structure. So like that's not like good for noodle texture. So really have to like kind of go gradual thinning. Okay, so that dough just went through 3 millimeter roller gap and but the actual thickness is like what 4.2 4.2 ish. So the dough, expanded by it's like almost like 1.2 millimeter. So before you cut, right, before you cut this dough into the noodle strands, you know, what we want to know, like how much the dough expands, right? So that, we know, okay, what the roller gap we need to set to get to the final thickness that we want, right? And so she adjusted the roller gap and we're gonna cut it. Okay, so let's start cutting it and um, yeah, so this is the kind of cutter we use to cut noodles and like this is number 8 cutter and number 8 is a 4.0 millimeter, 4.0, that's a width and so that's a width, right? And then that's fixed. So each groove of that cutter makes noodle strand that's 4.0 millimeter in width, right? And the thickness is, we are controlling by roller gap, right? So that's uh, that's how we adjust the noodle size, thickness and width. And the 4.0 millimeter is like kind of, well, a little bit, a little bit thinner, a little bit smaller for example, like Sanuki udon noodles. But it's a good size. Yeah, but it's a good size for noodles. And so the noodles coming out, and well, and you can control the length, right? Length of noodles, and so length of noodle actually determines the portion size of the noodles. So the basically longer the noodles, the well bigger the portion size, right? Yeah. So that's how you make like extra high hydration noodles on the ramen machine. Okay, so let's go to the kitchen, right? And then let us show you guys just really simple udon dish that you can actually do at home, and because it's very very easy, so anybody can do it, and you can even like serve it to your family, and um, anybody can do it. And this is our kitchen, and this is where we teach our ramen school, udon school, and yeah, it's very kind of small for like culinary school, but like we focus on like kind of one-on-one kind of teaching, right? And then so um, maximum number of people like we can have like is 8 people, And actually, we're gonna have like our ramen school, like in-person ramen school, next month. And I think this is gonna be the first real in-person ramen school that we're gonna have here. Well, we're gonna have like students from overseas, for the first time, like since the COVID happened. So like it was like for the first time like in almost like 2.5 years. Yeah. So it's like we're kind of excited, yeah, to have like students coming from like overseas. That kind of tells us that like okay, like like things are getting back to like kind of normal, and you know, so it's great, it's great that all people coming from different parts of the world back to Japan, and uh, we get we're excited to well teach and the real class, I mean real school, and yeah, and we are also excited that like we started online school as well, like ramen school that's available right now already, and yeah, so everything is out, and all the courses available already, and yeah, if you guys are interested in like just please, yeah, you can actually already start taking the course online, and like you can actually learn everything about ramen, and like learning about like how to make certain types, like certain components like tare, flavored oil, like base stock, in different types, right? And basically like taking these courses, right, and then like learning how to make like each component and from scratch, and then yeah, and then just like kind of combining them at the different ratios, gives you like well pretty much like infinite number of like types of like ramen that you can make, right? So it's a pretty more like it's a complete comprehensive ramen course that we put together. And so if you guys are interested, like just please check out our yeah, ramen course, online ramen school. And now what we're doing right now is that like we are actually boiling the water, right? And when you're cooking the noodles, right, make sure that you have well boiling water and boiling. It's like it has to be like boiling, right, before you put noodles in there, right? And make sure that you have like enough water. It's got to be like at least like 10 times the amount of like the quantity of noodles that you're cooking. For example, like so if you're cooking like 300 grams of noodles, right, in the weight, and you should have like at least like 3,000 grams of water boiling before you're putting the noodles in there. Because if you have less water than that, then the noodles gonna not gonna cook well. Yeah, for the noodles to be like cooking like optimally, like you have to have like good amount of water, and it's got to be boiling before you put the noodles in there. So, and especially we're talking about udon noodles, like which are really thick, and it takes time. So you have to have well good amount of water, and at the same time it's got to be boiling. Okay, so we have a boiling water now, and we add the noodles in there, right? And of course, like when you put noodles in there, right, in the boiling water, the cooking water like temperature like drops, right? Because the noodles are colder, and so you have to have you have like kind of like immediately start starting noodles, right? And make sure that like entire area of the noodles gets heated from water, right? And it's important that the after you put noodles in there, like it's important like you well try to get that boiling back up as fast as you can. So that's one of the things you do. And then once it starts boiling, like kind of violently boiling, you want to kind of turn down the heat a little bit to kind of simmering state, so that the noodles, like surface noodles, not gonna get like damaged from the kind of the bubble, like rolling boiling water. So over here we have like a bowl, right? And I'm just gonna crack some egg in there. Just gonna crack some egg, and I don't know how many eggs I'm supposed to crack, but probably cracking there like maybe 5 of them, 5 eggs. It's just like amount of eggs, how many eggs like you have need to crack like for how, like the like weight of the noodles, like how much noodles. It really kind of depends on like your preference too, but like um, yeah, I think like if you're serving like maybe like 5 people, then like crack 5 eggs or something like that. Like you just kind of make it like kind of simple. And this is kind of like processed cheese, and it's the one that like kind of melts, um, in the heat. So um, it's it's gonna be like, I don't know if it's like it's gonna be like sound right, but like it's like Italian, like it's not like an African, like carbonara kind of thing. Like yeah, it's like kind of cream pasta, like with the like eggs and some black pepper and like probably some bacon. Yeah, so kind of I'm kind of doing the kind of same kind of something similar with the udon, and it's very easy to do with the udon because like udon, it takes time to cook udon noodles because they are thick, right? And then, but like the dish that I'm doing, like it's called like kamaage, and kamaage means like just cook noodles, and there are a lot like starch on the surface of noodles, but like just ignoring them, right? And then we're just gonna eat that noodles, right out of the pot, right? Right out of the pot, right out of the cooking pot. So, um, yeah, that way, you know, it's not gonna take that long time. Like if you're cooking like, for example, like udon noodles for like hot soup noodles, then we probably have to like cook for like 8 minutes or so, because we need to like take the noodles away out and then like wash them and cool them, and so it has to be sort of like cooked thoroughly, right? So that's why it takes like 8 minutes, like 7 minutes, like depending on the noodle size. And then like if you're cooking like cold noodles, then you'd have to like even like cook them for longer time, like because you wash them and then you need to like chill them, which makes the noodles tighter, like harder. So you probably need to like cook them for like 10 minutes. But like for this one, the noodle is gonna stay hot, right? Stay hot after you take the noodles out, right? Because you're not gonna wash them or anything. Um, so they're gonna stay hot, and then using the heat, right, from the noodles, you can actually cook the eggs and cheese, right? And then the udon noodles also contain a lot of water, as you guys saw, right? When when we show you guys the salt, amount of salt that we use in udon noodles, right? So we could get like some sodium out of the udon noodles as well, and so we don't have to use any salt to season it, and it's got some salt, like kind of sodium from the cheese as well, and just black pepper, and then like I just chopped up like some scallions here, and I'm gonna add a bit of like kind of dashi as well. So yeah, it's gonna be like salty enough, and um, yeah, so like just using the heat out of the noodles, so it's gonna be like really easy and kind of efficient. And then yeah, so after you cook noodles, right? Like what you do is just like dump these noodles into the bowl and just just stir them. So just basically like just stir everything, right? Just stir everything well. I think it was a bit too much. One, probably one too many eggs, but that's okay. Because we're gonna cook more udon later. So just to serve it, like just oops, and then just put some scallion in there and black pepper it, and just a bit of dashi. So yeah, so this is very easy. Like this, just very simple, pretty efficient because like you're using like all the heat out of like udon noodles and everything, and using the heat, you can cook the eggs and melt the cheese, and yeah, so it's very simple. Kamaage, carbonara, kamaage udon noodles. Yeah, you can try it at home, and it's yeah, that tastes like guaranteed. So yeah, we try at home, and yeah, so that was what we had for this class. But like extra high hydration noodles, there are many types of them, and um, we have a lot of customers actually while using our soba noodle machines, like udon noodle machines, doing this like extra high hydration noodles because they provide like very unique noodle texture. It's soft but like very chewy, and it's a very sleek, silky noodle texture, and that's what we have. So like thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you back in next class. So thank you so much. Bye bye.